Okay, this video is about question books for studying, or how to use question books for studying. And so the first thing is, when you take a test, this will be, let's say, in college or in grad school, they're going to ask you questions on the test. So in order to do well on a test, you have to be able to answer questions. A lot of students will say, well, I read the material, I thought I understood it, but I didn't do so well in the test. So what I'm saying is, if there's a copy of the old test, that's the highest yield thing you could possibly get your hands on. So if it exists, get a copy of it and look at it. But for most things, you won't have access to that, and just buy these question books. It's usually good to go through. I used to, when I was in med school, for example, go through at least 2 question books on every subject, physiology, anatomy, histology, whatever it might be, pathology. And what I would do is, I would not test myself. I would just look at the answers and copy all the answers from the back of the book. And then I would look at the question. Well, first of all, then I would take a guess at it, but I wouldn't waste too much time or keep track of my scores. Then I would try to ask myself, I think the most important thing is, I would ask myself, why did they ask this question? Is it because they're trying to teach a useful concept? Is it because they're trying to make sure you understand the vocabulary? Or is it because they're trying to trick you? And the point is that there's not that many questions. If you get a sense of what type of questions they ask, and you understand why they asked it, what was the point of it, then what you see on your regular test is probably going to be a permutation of that. Of course, what your own teacher says during the regular class lectures, that's going to be the highest yield material. A lot of teachers will just take stuff from what they put forth in lecture. But I can also say that there's a characteristic set of questions that always come for different subjects. And if you go through these question books and you understand why they're asking you the question, what the game is, you'll be in pretty good shape. You do the question book once before your midterms, or right after you finish studying the material, right before your midterms, right before your finals. And that way you've seen them a whole bunch of times. So when it's before boards, you've already seen them, and you just quickly refresh yourself on the question book. For any really good insights, like sometimes the person writing the question book really knows the subject well, and they ask the questions in such a way you're like, you have a eureka moment. You go, this is great, I get it. Put that note down in your condensed notes, so you'll always have it there to go through. These are just some books that I've written like 4 books on study skills. Medical Student's Guide to Top Board Scores, I wrote that in medical school. Straight A at Stanford and on to Harvard, I wrote that in residency. And then How to Raise IQ and Become a Genius, I wrote that after I had raised my own kids, and I learned a lot from raising my own kids, and I did a lot of tutoring, here and there of different students or people who would come to me. And then this one was just, I had this one made into a sort of a teenager version. This is kind of an advanced version, sort of like for grad students. This is a better version for like a high school or a college person. They just quickly get to the point. This one I get a little more philosophical and stuff. So anyways, that's the point. Yeah, question books help. It's worthwhile to do them. And the highest yield thing of all is old recalls from old tests, usually produced by the students the year before. So anyways, hope that helps.